Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 36 of Schooner Girl Sports Pod. I have a fantastic interview for you today. Nek Lil Sis, Brianna Howard. Brianna is Schooner born, the proud daughter of Matt and Kisha Howard, and proud sister of Braden. She is an alumni of Tuttle High School. She is now a junior at OU and is studying elementary education. She became a member of Nek Lil Sis in 2023. On Saturday, August 30th, in our season opener, she lived her favorite Schooner memory, a dream come true, as she became the very first female Native American schooner driver and only the 7th female driver overall. I had a great time visiting with Brianna about this awesome milestone in her life and just what special memories she has growing up as a Schooner fan and just living her dream now as a student at OU and being a part of the Nek Lil Sis program. I really enjoyed visiting with her. She's so sweet. Her mom is precious. They're obviously very proud of her and her accomplishments and her heritage. And I am happy to have the opportunity to get to visit with her and showcase all of that here on my show. So I hope you enjoy this interview with sweet Brianna Howard. You can find her on Instagram at Brianna K. Howard. And I will link that in the show notes, and I will tag her in the clips throughout the week on social media. I also did want to mention one thing that got cut out of the recording as I hit stop on record as we continued talking. She was talking about how the Roughnecks and the Lil Sis will do practice runs on the Schooner in the parking lot at the Lloyd Noble Center, and that sometimes people will stop by and take pictures and ask to meet them and pet the ponies. So it was just really cool to hear her talk about that. I did not ever know. They also do practice on the farm just outside of Norman where the ponies are kept. They do practice and do things out there as well, but they do practice a lot of their runs in the Lloyd Noble parking lot. It's a big wide open space during the middle of the week on occasion. So I thought that was a really cool little tidbit that she shared, and I did not want to get that overlooked on the episode. Also, I just love being able to share her story. She is a true female trailblazer in Schooner Nation. She's paving the way for other women in the future, and not only women, but women of heritage. And I'm so thankful that she chose to give me part of her time and share her story here on the show. So I hope you guys enjoy my interview with Brianna Howard. But first, stay tuned to the injury report with my friend, Dr. Jason Linen. We run through this week's updated injury list and talk a little bit about concussions. So I hope you enjoy our conversation with Dr. Jason Linen. Well, I mean, I feel like, again, we're faring pretty good, minus a couple of things that don't appear too long-term or serious. So that's always good.
Yeah, that's good.
Did you see, this is a former Schooner. I don't even really know what happened, but Kenai Walker, he plays for Arkansas. He's a defensive back, but he got carted off the field the other night.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He got knocked out, but he did come to before they hauled him off. And so he was taken out on a cart, and he gave a thumbs up on his way out. So
okay, yeah, that's good.
That's good. But yeah, always like to follow our former Sooners and keep up with them a little bit. I hate that for him. I hope he's okay. I haven't seen or heard anything else. Yeah, he took a fall on the field, straight on the back of his head, so he also could have a concussion.
Right. Yeah.
I mentioned to you. Susie was there. He's still in a walking boot, which I think they were just preserving him, honestly, because he didn't need to play in that game. So they're probably
I kind of wondered the same thing. Yeah.
Whatever's going on, they're just letting him rest. So that's fine. We clearly did fine without him. And then Daniel Okoye was also in street clothes, and Troy Everett didn't make the trip. And we are injury unclear on those two. Not quite sure what's going on. I think they're probably just banged up, and again, just letting them kind of rest.
Didn't really need to play this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see them all back on Saturday, because that's when we will need them all.
Yeah, starting SEC play. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go, right?
Gonna get more exciting. Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready. To try. I think that'll be a good test to see what we really have now that we get in conference play.
Yeah, I do too.
Giovanni Gibson made the trip and was suited up, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, hopefully he's getting close to.
They said he's close, so I think they're just holding out maybe for Saturday. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Hopefully so, yeah.
Okay, so the main thing for us to talk about is Tez Lewis, which I hate to say his name on the injury list because he is really
Yeah, he's been great so far.
He has. So I hope we get him back sooner rather than later, but clearly he has a concussion. As Coach Venable said, he got his bell rung, which he totally did. So
Definitely
I think that's something most
yeah.
people say, oh, he got his bell rung. Well, sometimes that's a concussion and sometimes it's not always means that.
Right.
But tell us a little bit about concussions. That's your specialty. So
well,
what all does that entail?
A bit of concussions for sure. Yeah, Coach Venable's using a little bit of the old school language there to, I'm sure when he was growing up, that's what they said. And then they slapped you on the backside and said, get back out there.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, probably for better rather than worse these days, we kind of treat these things a little bit differently than they did really even 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. But certainly within the last 20 years, since I've been in school and out of school now. But then obviously it's a little bit more in the media these days, and some of these more dramatic injuries. I mean, you can look at, people think of like Tua in the NFL, you know, having these fairly dramatic episodes on the field and multiple back-to-back kind of injuries. And so I think we take care of these things a little more carefully now than we used to, which is good, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, you know, you see a fairly significant impact hit like we did on Saturday. The guys clearly, at least to me, look clearly knocked out for a minute there.
For sure.
To the point that, I mean, you know, you see a receiver who's been fairly steady and consistent and, you know, I think knocked out to the point that his hands probably just gave out and the guy grabbed the ball from him. And that's not normal for, that guy.
For sure.
And I don't know why they didn't look back and look at that for targeting, but
I don't know either. I thought that was a classic.
I feel like it should have been, could have been, and I don't even know if they looked at it.
And I feel like if the other play against our Mason Thomas was targeting, I don't know why they didn't at least look at this one, because that's a whole nother story. But I think that's a really gray area with the fine line with targeting right now. Mm-hmm. They're quick to call some and quick to dismiss others, and I'm going, what the heck?
Yeah, it seems a little inconsistent.
It totally
seems inconsistent game to game, or even within the same game sometimes.
Yes. So we definitely saw that on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, with these concussions, I mean, really the key is, you know, when's it safe to get these guys back?
Yes.
I mean, that's why these days you pull them off or you put them in the 10 and then you run the tests. And unless a guy is just completely clear back to normal pretty quick, which is going to be rare with that type of when they actually do get knocked out. Mm-hmm. Or you know, some guys will jump up, but they'll kind of be stumbling and you can tell, okay, they're not right.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes guys get pulled off and maybe got kind of dinged for a second, but you know, if everything checks out pretty quick right away and they're pretty normal, okay, those guys can go back. But these days, other than a pretty simple, clear thing like that, they're going to keep them out and they're going to do more formal testing once they get back to the training room or back to the school. And these days we have computer tests to kind of look at some of the neurocognitive things, and you know, obviously they do some of these, like, you know, see people, you know, kind of doing the finger or the pin and looking in the eyes and checking their balance and that kind of thing. All tests that are kind of looking to see where their brain's at, really.
Right.
And so the problem with these concussions is I tell patients it's different than an ankle sprain where your ankle might be a little sore, but it's otherwise you haven't broken anything, nothing's real torn up, or it's relatively stable, and you can kind of quote play through the pain, or you can tape it up and give them a little stability and they can try to tough it out. Well, you really can't do that with the brain.
Right.
And you can't put these guys at risk for getting a secondary head injury when they're still trying to recover from the first one.
Yes.
And so we kind of take these things seriously, and you know, it's a little bit of a two-edged sword, you know, with these kind of injuries, because the guys want to play, they're trying to get back in there.
Yes.
And this is kind of one of those situations as a medical provider or an athletic trainer or, you know, sideline doc, when you kind of have to say, no, I'm going to take your helmet, I'm going to pull you out.
Yeah.
You're not going. I know you want to go back, but you're not going back.
Right. Yeah.
And again,
today's not the day.
Yeah, I mean, a guy, injured his shoulder and he's a little sore, but he might just let him try to tough it out. But these kind of things, you really can't let them try to tough it out.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why.
Yeah, yeah. So, there's different tests and things like I mentioned, treatment wise. There are some things you can do to work on, if someone's balance or kind of that vestibular system is involved, or if there's some visual, there's some exercises and things they can kind of do with some of that. Sometimes working on the muscles around the head and neck.
Yes.
But sometimes, and I tell a lot of my patients, the main prescription on these things is just time.
Yeah.
And some guys will just continue to have symptoms, and unfortunately, they're having a lot of symptoms, and functionally, they're a little bit slow still, or their brain has some findings that they're definitely not quote back to normal.
Yeah.
You just kind of got to give it more time.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, they'll get better within a few days or within the week, and if their symptoms kind of dissipate and they're functionally, back to normal, then, maybe he can come back by next week, hopefully.
I hope so, yeah.
But if these things linger for, a few days and, come Wednesday, Thursday, he's still not normal. He's not going to,
Yeah, no,
kind of have time to pass those
for sure.
follow-up tests and get to the point where they feel like he's going to be safe. So,
Yeah.
you hope to, if you have to miss a week, okay, but hopefully it doesn't linger longer than that on these kind of things.
Well, the good thing is we play Saturday, Auburn, and then we have a bye.
Yes.
So the next week. So God forbid whatever happens Saturday, or if anything is lingering still, we have another week to recover from all of that before we and then we come back and play Kent State at home and then Texas. So we have
so
a
surely
little leeway
to come around to Texas, I would almost be certain he should be back by then.
Yeah, surely. Yeah, that's 3-4 weeks out. So.
Unless it's just something, that we don't know that's going on with it. Whether it be a neck or something else that sometimes go along with these injuries. But hopefully,
true.
Just a simple concussion. I would hope that he should be back certainly by then. Again, sometimes within a week. So we'll see.
Well, fingers crossed. When you were talking about Tua and he's had quite the list of concussions, several. Yeah. But I think about Grant Calcaterra, which most Sooner fans will know. He was told, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to OU's medical staff at all, but he was told by them, like, we're not clearing you to play. And so I think he actually announced he was medically retiring, so to speak.
I think so.
And then he transferred to SMU, played a year at SMU, and now he plays for the Eagles. And he plays for the Eagles and has won a Super Bowl. And he played last year when we were there. And I still consider him a Sooner. I always loved him. And I don't think he left on any bad terms. I think he took matters into his own hands, so to speak. And as a patient, you have the right to do that, I guess.
Sure.
But then, again, I don't mean this rude about even the SMU medical staff, but I'm kind of like, I'm sure they checked him all out, knowing what he had been told in Norman. But it's kind of crazy to think that they were like, okay, yeah, you can come play here.
Right.
I know there's way more to it than that, but it's crazy to think about, because Grant had several in Norman. But as far as I know, since then, even at SMU, I don't think he had anything there. And with the Eagles, I don't think he's had any issues. So I guess he's gotten lucky and gotten some more time to play. So you never know.
That's kind of one of those gray areas that we don't, as medical professionals, even at the highest level, we don't have a tried and true system for saying, okay, after your second concussion, you need to take this long off, or if you get more than 2 in a season, you should maybe be the rest of the season out. Or if you get more than 3 in 2 years, what does that mean? We don't really know.
Different, so
the guidelines are a little bit, sort of incomplete on some of that. And, and it's understandable. It's hard to kind of quote research in that. Speaking of Tua again, it really, personally and professionally, felt like, especially after that last concussion, he probably should have been done.
I know.
Done. And he came back within the same year, within 2 years later or something.
I know.
And I just thought, this is not, if I was his personal doctor, if I was his brother, if I was his friend, I'm just like, don't do this. Is ridiculous. Yeah.
I know. It just scares me thinking if he were to get another one, what could happen? And
what does that look like?
Surely that would be the last straw for him, you would think, because it's just scary. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, some of these things have to a little bit, not that this is what, again, I have no insight to the OU medical staff or what they're doing, but to a certain extent, you have to a little bit kind of save face, or cover yourselves to a certain degree that if you have a guy that you've said, oh yeah, he's had 4 concussions, but we've cleared him again, and then he gets another one, and then he's comatose for a month, whatever it might be. People are going to talk differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas, so I'm sure they got together and said, hey, I don't know if this is worth the risk.
Yeah.
But again, people can make their own decisions. He's an adult. He can.
Yep.
So if he can go out and find another doctor, another team to clear him, hey, great for him. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, I think.
Right. Well, and luckily both him and Tua, since Tua's last incident as well, which was 2 years ago, I believe. I don't think he had anything last season, but
Can't remember when that last one was. Yeah.
They're still good.
Still going, yeah.
Fingers crossed. I wish them the best. I hate seeing people go down. I hate seeing people get carted off. I hate like concussions freak me out. So, you talking about it. It's crazy how common they are, really. And you think about even like younger athletes in high school or school age kids. And usually the ER is like, oh, don't let them go to sleep and make sure they're doing all these things at home. And I'm going, that's my kid's brain.
Right,
so that would freak me out a little bit if I were a parent. But I know there's obviously more severe concussions, which you can tell. Like if a kid just has a hard fall and they're not knocked out, then obviously maybe at-home treatment is safer. But it makes complete sense why these athletic trainers and the staff at these big universities, like we were speaking of, and NFL teams, they got to cover themselves. So I don't blame them.
Right.
Well, here we go into conference play. Auburn. Here we come. So I'm ready.
Should be exciting. Yeah. Should be good. So we'll see. Kind of. I mean, obviously Michigan was a good test, and
yes.
They had a good outing this last week against obviously lesser competition, but still.
Yes. But their quarterback, he balled out.
Yeah, he looked great.
He had a lot of, I don't remember his exact numbers, but he had some great numbers against them. And it was a lesser competition, obviously, but to see him turn around from not doing so hot with us and our defense literally ate him up to turn around and do that. Good for him. And it kind of makes us feel a little bit better, I'm sure.
Yeah. But, although I was watching obviously the Tulane game, and then right after that I'm watching the Georgia and Tennessee game.
Yes.
And that, I got to tell you, that was a different level of play, those games back to back. I mean, the hits were so hard in that Georgia Tennessee game. And I was just like, wow, this is true. This is what we're going to get in SEC every week.
Oh, yeah. And there was like no defense in that game, though. But that's what's going to happen. Those high-powered offenses.
Gonna rank.
Here they come. And it was a completely different level than what we had just finished watching in Philly, for sure.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Jackson Arnold coming back to town. We've had this one circled on the calendar since whenever he transferred, January.
Yeah, so, I'm sure he'll be juiced up for it.
I'm sure he will.
I'm not sure he's going to be able to run like he has against OU defense, so we'll see.
I don't think so either. Well, fingers crossed if we stay consistent and maintain the level that we've been playing out. And I think we talked about this before, but I feel like week 1 we were like, okay, they're kind of holding stuff back or playing vanilla or whatever, and then they really stepped it up for Michigan. And I feel like it was somewhere in between that for Temple, his first road game and all that. Didn't really know what to expect. So I assume coming back home and SEC game, they're just going to be pedal to the metal.
They'll have the full playbook. Yeah,
I think so. I think they will. I am really enjoying these weekly segments on the injury report with my friend Dr. Jason Lynan, and I'm truly thankful for him giving his time to me each week to record a brief rundown and talk a little bit of football. So thank you again to Dr. Jason Lynan. And now on to the interview with Nek Lil Sis, Brianna Howard. I really appreciate you coming on to chat with me. I'm very excited to hear what got you where you are now. I have been wanting to talk to Nek or Lil Sis. When I saw that TikTok going around of you and the photos, I said, I have to do this.
So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you have a very cool accomplishment that goes along with your name after this past weekend. So I'm really excited to hear about that. So just tell me a little bit. I know you said you were from Tuttle, and so you obviously grew up Sooner born, Sooner bred. And just tell me a little bit about what led you to OU and how you ended up becoming a Nek Lil Sis.
Well, OU was always like my first choice growing up because it was just like the college in Oklahoma, especially for my family. And when I realized I wanted to go into education, it was like even better of a school because they have like 100% job placement for teachers here. So that was my goal, was to get here. And then when I got in, I was really excited, but I also was a little nervous because I didn't really know a lot of people. I mean, there's obviously people from my high school, but I didn't have a lot of like close friends that I had going to OU. So I had remembered my dad and my 8th grade science teacher that I was and did a mentorship with. They both said that I'd be really good as a little sis because I am very spirited. And so me and my roommate, my freshman year, Cynthia, we tried out together. We, applied, got interviews, and we both got in, thankfully.
How cool. That's awesome. If you can tell this, which I don't know if you can, what the process was like as far as trying out to be a Lil Sis.
To be a Lil Sis, it's mostly an application process. You send in a resume, a letter of recommendation, and like a statement of purpose essay. And then from there, you get picked for an interview. And then after the in-person interview, they pick, this year we're picking 5 new girls, and that kind of varies each year. But that's like the complete process, basically.
Oh, okay. Well, I've always thought that it's really cool because you guys get to carry around the guns and shoot the guns at all the perfect times. And so that has to be very exhilarating on game day because you're the ones that keep the atmosphere alive during the game.
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
So, this is your 3rd season of being a Lil Sis. So tell me, what was it like your very first game? Because that had to have been intimidating a little bit because that stadium's massive. So I can't imagine being on the field and you probably feel like everyone's looking at you.
Yeah, that first game was definitely very hectic. We had spent most of the night making our paddles. So I think the night before I got maybe 2 hours of sleep. And then we woke up the next morning and we took like group pictures with the schooner and everything because every year the group takes pictures. So we did that and then we went back and finished our paddles, and then it was time to like get the schooner hitched and get everything set up and ready for game day. And then actually getting on the field was crazy because I felt like everyone was watching me, which I knew like 2 people were, and those are my parents. But I was just like, my goodness. Yeah, like running on the field with the schooner was definitely crazy, especially because I'm not really much of a runner. So I was like, oh gosh, I hope no one's looking at me right now.
Right? That would be me. Well, I know your mom is very proud of you and she's adorable. I love how she's been sharing the TikTok and all the photos and everything from you. And obviously, you're very proud of your Native American heritage. And so that's really cool because obviously that's a part of what got you to do what you're doing and then what makes you so unique. So is there anything you want to tell about your Native American history with your family and that pride that you have because of that?
Yeah, so my papa, his name is Sherman. He is 100% Choctaw. Then my Mimi had a little bit of Choctaw in her. So my great grandmother, we call her Grandma Curly, she's Choctaw. And so I have a lot of family who really taught me to be proud of where I came from and who I am.
Good.
And it's been great. It's been wonderful growing up, having such pride in who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, like I said, it drives you to be the person that you are. And it's really cool that you get to represent your family and your heritage in doing what you did. And so it was really neat to watch you get to be a part of that because like I said, I've always thought it was such a cool group of people. But tell me a little bit, like, how do you guys decide who gets to be in the schooner or who has to run or how does all of that work? Is it someone different every week?
Are you talking about driving or just like riding in the schooner or just both?
Well, both.
So we switch drivers every run. So it's based on like touchdowns. Okay. So this next game, I'm doing the first run and then the 5th run. And then if we go past that, we just kind of start it over again. As for riding, we try to get the new members in pretty early on in the season, or like people who haven't had a chance to ride in it. So this next game, we're going to have a lot of new members, both boys and girls, riding on the schooner. And then for running.
Okay, cool.
It's our leadership, like our presidents and vice presidents for both Roughnecks and Lil Sis. They kind of get that schedule together. We have it set to where someone will like have a group of people running behind the schooner, a group of people at the top of the tunnel to block and make sure no one's going to get in the way of the schooner coming up. And then our keeper of the guns and assistant keeper of the guns for both the boys and the girls set the gun line schedule. And so all of leadership kind of works together to make sure that none of it's overlapping. And then also the owners of the farm and our like driver trainer, they help with like the driver schedules too.
Oh, okay. Well, I did not realize there was a different driver every time there was a run. So that is good to know. I'll have to pay closer attention because obviously I do not. Okay, so you guys don't typically travel with the team because the schooner's not always allowed everywhere. But obviously you guys go to OU Texas, and that has to be a very unique atmosphere, unique experience there in Dallas. So tell me a little bit about your first experience, or if you have like a favorite memory from OU Texas, just kind of what that environment is like compared to being at home.
So I haven't officially gotten to be on the field for OU Texas yet, but this year I will be. But I have been to the games just like with the club as a fan, and those have been great. It's just us all getting rowdy in the stands and having fun and rooting for OU. And then beforehand, we all go to like the Texas State Fair and we eat a bunch of food, and we're just all having a good time. And we like stay in a hotel together. So we're around each other a lot those days.
Yes.
But
yes.
It's always been
you have to be good friends with these people, I'm sure, because you are together a whole lot.
Yes. The group of girls that joined the same time as me, we're all super close. So that's been great.
That's really cool. So are there any away games that you have been to? Because I know the Schooner didn't go to the bowl game last year, if I remember correctly. So has there been a bowl game or any other away game that you've gotten to be a part of on the field?
No, it's mostly a seniority thing. If we do get to be on the field, so like the seniors get to be like, hey, I want to do this. And then from there on, it kind of goes down. So I haven't had a chance to do any of that, but I have been to a lot of away games just as a fan and like representing the club in the stands.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm very excited for you to get to experience OU Texas on the field this year. I'm sure that will be quite the experience for you.
Yeah.
And hopefully, depending on postseason and how the season goes, maybe you guys will get to go and partake in that as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes, I hope so as well. So other than, you getting to be the first female Native American driver is a really cool accolade for you. Is there anything else that you've accomplished, so to speak, or maybe another favorite memory that you have from getting to be a part of Nek Lil Sis?
Honestly, it feels like everything we get to do is an accomplishment in and of itself sometimes. So when I first shot the guns, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I just did that. It was crazy. And then I really loved getting to do the all-girl schooner run for our Nek Lil Sis 50th anniversary. So that was my first year in the club. We had two girls on the box, and then two girls heading the ponies, and then all of the girls running behind the schooner. And I got to run the American flag for that. So that was really cool.
Oh, that is really neat. So back to what you said about coming to OU because you wanted to be a teacher. I actually have my degree in education from OU as well, but I am no longer a teacher. So I was early childhood education, and I graduated in 2003. So it's been a while, but I loved being a student at OU, and of course, just being a part of the university and all that entails. And I'm so proud to be a graduate and to be a part of the College of Education. And so it's really cool when I saw that was your major. That made me excited for you because I kind of know a little bit what you're going through. I mean, I know it's been 20 years for me since I was a student at OU, but That's really cool that you're doing education. And like you said, getting placed and getting a job in Oklahoma as a teacher is a pretty easy thing to do. So obviously that'll work out to your benefit, and you can stay close to your family. And so that's fantastic for you. So I'm glad. I'm excited for you. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
I just love all the pictures of you this weekend. You just look so happy up in the Schooner. Were you scared at all having to drive? I bet so.
Yeah, I was quite nervous because I originally wasn't supposed to do that specific run. I was scheduled to be the 4th run of the game, but then I was really nervous that I wasn't going to get to make my run. So I went to the driver who was scheduled ahead of me, and I was like, "Hey, would you mind if I drove before you? I just really want to make sure I can do this." And she was like, "Yeah, of course, go for it." And so I had just communicated that with the rest of the people who were involved. And then I was just standing there talking to Cooper, who was the driver on the box at the time. And then the touchdown happened. And we were like, was that a touchdown? And so there was this fan who was in the stands and got a video of it. And I looked at the timestamp, and the whole process of me getting onto the Schooner, getting the rain situated, and then making my run, it was all 1 minute and 8 seconds. So I had less than a minute to get on the box and be like, okay, I can do this. So that was crazy.
Wow.
But I think
I for sure would have been a nervous wreck. Yes. Well, you didn't have too much time to worry about it. It just had to happen.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, that is, again, I just think it's so cool that you get to represent as a female, of course, and then as your Native American heritage, and getting to do that. But honestly, it's kind of crazy. I noticed on social media when I was sharing your photos in my stories and then sharing the TikTok, people were commenting and they were saying, what took us so long to get a Native American woman behind the reins? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it took quite a while just to get women driving.
Yeah.
The first female driver was in 2019. So,
oh wow.
It was definitely a long time coming.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was that recent for a woman driver, and of course with your Native American heritage. That's just crazy. So hopefully you guys have been trendsetters. And so going forward, that will be an ongoing thing that women will continue to represent, and women of minorities will continue to represent in all capacities, because I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think hopefully we'll have a lot more female drivers for a long time after this.
Yes, I hope so too. Is there anything else that you want to share or talk about? Anything you're looking forward to, or any other memories or anything that you want to share before I let you go?
I don't know. I'm just looking forward to the rest of my career of being a Lil Sis. I'm looking forward to finishing out this season and hopefully getting a bunch of time to drive the Schooner. I'm hoping we have a lot of touchdowns.
Absolutely. Me too, for a lot of reasons. So, well, best of luck to you going forward. And of course, hopefully next time your nerves won't be as shot, since you've done it before. You kind of know what to expect. So best of luck to you going forward with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hope you guys enjoyed our injury report with Dr. Jason Lynan and the awesome interview with sweet Brianna Howard, a Nek Lil Sis. I really enjoyed learning more about that program and a little behind the scenes, and of course her experience personally. I've always thought it was so cool to see them shoot the guns and everything, so it was really cool to visit with her. So thank you again, Brianna, for joining me on today's episode. And so now on for this week's Sooner Headlines of the Week. We had a big announcement come up this past weekend for the very first time. SEC Nation will be coming to Norman for the OU Auburn SEC home opener this coming weekend on Saturday, September 20th. Marty and McGee will be live in the South Oval at 8 a.m. on the SEC network. You can watch it at home if you do not make it out live. And also at 9 a.m., SEC Nation will be broadcasting live from the South Oval as well. And some numbers that came out after I recorded last week's episode regarding the OU Michigan game the week before. I just had to share these because it's pretty incredible. ESPN Game Day released the week 2 show numbers, and we finished in second most watched regular season episode ever. 2.6 million viewers, 3.3 final hour viewers, and we beat the competition by 172% head-to-head in the final hour for game day. 3.7 million full show peak. That's pretty incredible stats to be sharing, and I couldn't let that get by without sharing. And also, as far as the game goes, we showed up big time on prime time, of course, on the field, and then with the numbers as well. So shout out to everyone watching at home. ABC delivered 3 of the top 4 games in week 2. Michigan and Oklahoma had 9.7 million viewers. ESPN Networks said that was their best start since 2009, and ABC best start since 2006. So pretty awesome show for the Sooners in prime time against Michigan just a couple of weeks ago. Also want to give a quick shout out to some of our NFL Sooners. And if you are watching the video, you can see I am wearing my Baker shirt. LFB, let's effing bake. I'm recording this on Monday, September 15th, and Baker plays live on Monday Night Football tonight. I'm very much looking forward to that. I love following my Sooners post their collegiate career in the NFL. I have been to see Jalen play in Philly and in Dallas. I've seen Baker play in Cleveland. I've been to Tampa Bay. I've also seen Baker in Dallas. And this fall, I am going out to Phoenix to see Kyler. So I love following my Sooner guys. I know we have guys scattered across a lot of teams in the NFL. I like to tune in each week and follow them. But I wanted to give a quick shout out for Baker, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before on September the 7th. He led a game-winning 5-play, 63-yard drive to beat Atlanta. Since his arrival to Tampa Bay in 2023 in the final 2 minutes of regulation, Mayfield is tied for the NFL lead in passing touchdowns at 5, and he ranks 3rd in passer rating. So that's pretty incredible for Baker, always showing out and getting things done when he needs to. So shout out to my man Baker, and I can't wait to watch him tonight on Monday Night Football. Jalen and the Eagles are 2-0 after a big win at Arrowhead this past weekend. The Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time in a lot of years. I don't remember the exact date, but Jalen and the Eagles are really playing well. We also have Lane Johnson on that team as well, and former Sooner Grant Calcaterra that Dr. Jason Linen and I visited about earlier in the injury segment, talking about concussions. He played at OU for several years before finishing his career at SMU and now has played for the Eagles. I still consider him a Sooner at heart, and I just love watching our Sooners on the NFL field. And a shout out to Kyler and the Cardinals for getting a big win on Sunday as well. And Billy Bowman got his first NFL INT this past Sunday in primetime against the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. It was incredible to see. I hollered so loud. I love Billy. I love seeing our guys just show out at the next level, especially these newbies getting their time to prove their worth from the draft. So shout out to Billy for that first NFL interception for him, and I hope he gets many, many more to come. I know there's been a lot of talk about OU's schedule and the degree of difficulty that we have going forward, and I wanted to share the stat from ESPN Dari. Dari is a former Sooner, as you all probably know, but he said that every single Power 4 team on OU's schedule is currently ranked, including Michigan and every other SEC team on the schedule. If there are 11 ranked teams, that means that there are 5 unranked teams in the SEC, but every single one of those 5 that are unranked are on Texas's schedule. We didn't get a one of them, but Texas has all 5 unranked SEC teams on their schedule, and we do not. So keep that in mind going forward, and hopefully that proves to pay off for us at the end of the season, as long as we get things done, take care of business. But just an interesting fact that I thought I would share. Maybe it'll fuel our fire a little bit about the degree of difficulty that our schedule has proven to be. John Mateer got SEC Offensive Player of the Week last week. He got several other mentions as well for his excellent performance against Michigan at home. So shout out to him. This past Saturday, we played in Philly, our first road game of the season, and there were 24,927 people in attendance. It was a large Oklahoma showing from the Sooner fans in Philly this past week. If you follow anybody on social media, any other reporters, any of the sports guys, athletes, or anything, you saw definitely there were a lot of Sooner fans showing out in Philly. So how fun is that? What a great city. I've been to Philly, and it is a fantastic city, so I know those guys had a blast eating lots of cheesecake, showing out the Eagle Stadium. The Link is a really cool place, so it's just really cool that our Sooners got to play there. Grayson Miller has, again, been fantastic as a punter. He's averaging 50 yards per punt on 4 attempts. And also, the Temple rival band from St. Joseph's University was there playing and wearing shirts with OU on them. And I just thought that was pretty legendary since our Pride of Oklahoma band could not make the trip. They asked their friends at St. Joseph's to fill in for them, play a little Boomer Sooner. They even played the alma mater at the end of the game, holding up their ones. The football players were all in, and all of the fans that I saw were there that were posting videos. The band did such a great job. The band director did have a moment to chat with Chris Plank during the game on the radio, and it's just really cool to hear that camaraderie that they had and feeling such an honor to be able to fill in for us. And I just thought that that was super cool. I also saw that our softballer, Sophia Bordy, she is from New Jersey, and the Sooners being up in her neck of the woods, she was thrilled to be able to be at the game and visit home at the same time. So it's just really cool, again, just seeing the Sooners show up and support our guys on the East Coast. We still got a few injuries. I know we talked about this early in the earlier segment with Dr. Linen. With Fasusi out, Logan Howland was in on the O-line. But Kanek had a jump pass for the 2-point conversion on the very first scoring drive that we had. We scored a touchdown, and then we go for a 2-point conversion. It kind of threw us all off. But when Kanek has that jump pass, we get that 2-point conversion, it was pretty sick. And what was funny is in the post game, Kanek told Plank and Gabe Eichard that they had practiced that play earlier in the week and it didn't always work. So it was pretty ballsy of Arbuckle to pull that one out of the bag. But I thought it was really cool, just an opportunity to give the guys a time to shine and try something new. If you didn't watch the game and you haven't seen the video of that Boganowski sack, he knocked that guy into next week. It was just a really cool play, and I just will never get tired of seeing our defense show off like that. I am so impressed, of course, with John Mateer, Jaron Kanek, Torrey Blaylock. Holy smokes. He had an 18-yard touchdown run. It was the second longest rush of the season for us so far. It's the longest by a Sooner running back this season as well. Mateer had a 19-yarder against Michigan. But Teddy Lehman said before the season, he said, I think we're going to have 2,000-yard rushers this season. That was one of his hot takes for the season. So at this rate, I think we maybe might have an idea who one of them may be in Torrey Blaylock. I am real curious to see how this season goes as far as that's concerned. John Mateer, he is really, really putting on a show. They did pull him in the third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter, put in Michael Hawkins. I have heard that they're trying to save Michael Hawkins' red shirt, but you can play 4 games before you have to use your red shirt. So I know they're going to use him just in emergency situations, but it was kind of cool to see him in the game this past weekend and see what he can do, because that kid is a baller and I love watching him as well. But our O-line has really got to step it up a little bit more as far as protecting John Mateer going into the conference season, because those guys don't play. I don't know if anybody else watched the Georgia-Tennessee game after the OU game, but it was a pretty high-scoring game. Obviously, a lot of high-powered offense going on, maybe not a lot of defense going on in that game. But those teams, those SEC teams, especially on the road, it's going to be hard for Mateer to get those plays in if our O-line isn't protecting and giving him time. And I do think this is going to happen because, again, I said the same thing after week 1. After the Michigan game, they really stepped it up. And now here I am saying it again after Temple. I just can't help but think if maybe they're just playing down a little bit to their opponent, and hopefully that means they'll just step it up as Auburn comes to town this coming weekend. But Temple only had 63 total yards of offense in the first half. And I believe that they only had just a little over 100 total altogether. They didn't even hit 100 total yards until very, very late in the game. One thing that definitely stuck out, of course, was the R. Mason Thomas targeting call in the third. He, as of right now, will be missing the first half against Auburn, which is not ideal, but we do have quite a bit of depth in that position, and I think that we will be okay. However, it just sucks because we had that targeting call early in the game, and Keontez Lewis went down with a concussion late in the game. He got knocked out. As Venable said, he, quote, got his bell rung, which we talk about concussions and a little bit more about what that means in the protocol with Dr. Linen in the injury segment. So I won't go into that too much right now. But all that to say, they never questioned that call for targeting. And I don't know why, considering the R. Mason Thomas hit, they were like, that's a targeting call. They reviewed it. They went ahead and the call upheld, and He was called for targeting, ejected from the game, and will miss the first half against Auburn. In the postgame, Coach Venables did say that they plan to appeal it. Especially given the inconsistency in the calling of targeting just in that game alone. So be interesting to see how that turns out. Of course, the question remains, where's Jade Knott? We saw him very limited toward the end of the fourth quarter. He was not back for punt returns, so we don't know. Brent Venables made a statement that I can't remember the exact words, but basically they would like to see him better on all levels. He's not quite up to capacity, so to speak, on all levels. Whatever that means, we're not quite sure. So going forward, don't know if we're going to see him or not. Maybe he's been beaten out by some of the other players. We don't know. That's what some of the radio guys seem to think. Others seem to think that maybe he's just still dealing with the injury and that's why he hasn't gotten the reps in practice and maybe they're just not quite ready to put him in yet. Not sure. Who knows on that. But John Mateer's 51-yard run extends a streak of at least one rushing touchdown and one passing touchdown to 9 games consecutive. That's the longest current streak nationally and tied for 4th longest since that 2000. Okay, in the post game, our final stats were John Mateer, 20 of 34, 282 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That was with the Keontez Lewis. When he got his bell rung, he lost the ball, so I don't know if that really counts. But 63-yard rushing touchdown. Mateer's 944 passing yards are the 3rd most by an OU quarterback through the first 3 games of the season. Josh Heupel had 1202 passing yards in the first 3 games of 1999, and Baker had 1062 yards in his first 3 games in 2016. 3rd most by an OU quarterback in the first 3 games, John Mateer at 944. Certainly not going to balk about that. So that's really cool. He is, again, balling out. I just really hope going forward that our O-line continues to improve, stay healthy, and just stay on top of it and give him the time and protection he needs to get things done. Venables did say, notable after the game, Kendall Doby was back on the field, and seeing him make plays on the field just 1 year after his gruesome ankle injury was one of the best parts of the day. And I definitely don't disagree with that. When he came out on the field, it was just such an emotional thing to see. I cannot believe it's been a whole year since his ankle injury, so it was really cool to see him back on the field for sure. Again, Gabe says the O-line's banged up. Everett didn't even make the trip. Susie's out. Fabecchi's banged up. He also said it looks like Ott hasn't earned the reps. I know I mentioned that before, but just wanted to reiterate those things. And just again, another shout out with Jaron Kanek. He leads the Sooners with 245 receiving yards through 3 games. That's 54% of the total combined yards by OU tight ends last season. So we only had 455 yards last season by a tight end, and we're already at 245 in game 3. The converted linebacker, Kanek, has 14 catches for an average of 17.5 yards carried. All 4 of his receptions today went down for first down. So 3 of those came on third downs. Oklahoma is ranked number 4 nationally in total defense, pass efficiency, defense, and scoring defense, and number 2 in fewest pass yards allowed per game. So great start for our Sooners. I know we've been 3-0 before. In fact, if I remember correctly, I think we've been 3-0 all years since Brent Venables got here. And we all know that hasn't always stayed consistent and rang true throughout conference season and just going forward for a lot of reasons. So fingers crossed, here is hoping for health and success and consistency in playing going forward this season. It's a long season ahead, but we have a lot of potential, a lot of things to look forward to. So we will see Auburn in Norman. Jackson Arnold's return. We've all been talking about it since he went into the portal earlier this year. So it will be interesting to see him back in Norman this Saturday, 2:30. So can't wait to see you guys there. Again, if you come to the game, give me a shout out. I'm in section 48 in the southwest corner. I'm right below the boxes and just below the number sign. So you can't miss me, but I'd love to meet you. If you're at the game, just give me a holler or come by and say hello. Men's basketball, the full schedule was finally released. Our first home game is on November 3rd. They're doing another student-only game at McCaslin Fieldhouse on November 11th, which is a super cool thing. I would give anything to be able to go to that game. I just think it's so cool when they play in that field house. It's just such a special place, but I love that they're doing that. The SEC home opener is against Ole Miss on January 3rd. Season tickets are on sale right now. You can check out Soonersports.com for the full schedule. For more ticket information and all of that. I'm really looking forward to basketball season. I have a very special guest I'll be having on soon to do a basketball preview. And I also have interviewed a couple of the girls basketball players I'll be having on later this fall as well. So it will be here before we know it. They start at the end of October, early November. Cannot wait to see these squads. And I'm wishing Porter Moser and Coach Jenny nothing but the best this coming season. Our baseball had their conference schedule released this past week as well. Florida, Tennessee, and Texas A&M are coming to Norman. So again, I know season tickets are on sale. Schoonersports.com for the full schedule. Start marking your calendar. It's going to be a lot of great games to get out to. And they also did announce some upgrades and renovations to the ballpark that were approved this past week. So really looking forward to baseball season. I love spring at the ballpark, and there's just nothing better than being able to pull a double between the softball and the baseball team. It's a rare occurrence, but it can happen. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Also want to give a quick shout out to Cade Horton, our former Sooner who plays in the MLB. He's had 10 starts since the All-Star break this summer. He's only allowed 2 home runs. He has a .84 ERA. He's pitched 53.1 innings, only 28 hits. He is just really doing incredible for the Cubs. So again, shout out to Cade Horton. I know I've given him a shout out several times, but so much fun watching our former Sooners ball out at the next level. Softball, their conference schedule for the spring is out as well. Coming to Norman in the spring is S.J. Guerin and Auburn. S.J. is a former Sooner pitcher for us, in case you forgot her name. We also have Georgia coming to Norman and a Gasso reunion when Arkansas comes to town. So a lot of great games you're not going to want to miss. And again, the fall schedule is out. There are 6 opportunities for you to see the Sooners in Norman this fall, and the tickets are only $10, general admission, great atmosphere. So get out to the ballpark and get us a sneak peek for the spring. Another big softball announcement in Goose Hutchins, number 2 in the 2027 recruiting class. She is a catcher that committed to OU just this last week. She was part of the big recruiting weekend during the Michigan game. We had lots of recruits, not just for football that weekend. We had basketball as well, some baseball and softball. She was one of them. I know that Tyler McComas did a quick interview with her, and she was talking about having some other visits scheduled. So I don't know if she canceled those visits or not, but regardless, she is committed to OU. She's from Wagner, Oklahoma. She's a fantastic catcher, and I am very excited that she's committed to us. I think that there's a lot of potential with her, and of course, getting her on a roster with Patty Gasso is huge, and I am pumped to have her join the Sooners in a couple of years. Our soccer team is doing nothing but continue to show out. They are ranked number 20 and number 24 in respective polls. They have a program record right now of 7-1-1. They did suffer their first loss at Kentucky over the weekend, but they are looking great, and I hope that you'll get out and support them at home this season. Again, free admission to all the soccer games, Schoonersports.com for the schedule. And the one I know off the top of my head is Sunday, October 19th at 2 o'clock. Texas is coming to town. I will be there, and I can't wait for that one because I never turned down an opportunity to do Horns Down in Norman. But you won't catch me in Austin ever. But that's a story for another day. Quick shout out to Kayla Kiefer. She tied the single game match assist record at 3 assists and 5 points this past week. So shout out to our soccer player, Kayla Kiefer. Don't forget about our wrestling squad. Their schedule is out. It's notable that Bedlam is in Stillwater this year on Sunday, January 11th. There are several home matches, lots of opportunities to get out and support Coach Kish and the wrestling guys. So I hope that you will check again Schoonersports.com for that schedule and make a point to get out and support those guys as well. Our volleyball team, another women's team that's on fire, showing out for the university. They improved to 7-1 on the season behind a career night from Toccoa Barnes in a 3-1 win over St. Mary's on Friday night. And then they turned back around on Saturday and beat them 3-0 as well on Saturday. And so our volleyball team is so much fun to watch. I am getting out in October to a game. I cannot wait to see them, check them out at home. I also wanted to give a shout out to Imani Bush. She had 20 kills, 0 errors, and an 800 hitting percentage at the game on Saturday. So shout out to our volleyball girls for continuing to show out and represent us well. Yes, our women, the ITA All-American Championships start on September 20th in North Carolina. So best of luck to our Sooners representing us there. Also, our track and field had 6 athletes in the World Championships on September 13th through 21st in Tokyo, Japan. So those are ongoing right now. So be sure and check the OU Track and Field social media, and I'll be sharing it as well on my social media at Sooner Girl Pod, on Twitter especially, and in my stories on Facebook and Instagram for some updates on those athletes. Okay, shout out to Jace Summy, our men's golfer. Just in the month of August, he was the world best, 56.04 WAGR points. He wins the Western Am at the Carmel Cup. He had a team high 3 points for the USA at the Walker Cup and R32 at the US Amateur. So he was also named the Ben Hogan Award for Golfer of the Month in the month of August. So shout out to Jace Summy for, again, being a great representative of our men's golf team. I attended my very first hockey game this past week, Bedlam Hockey in Edmond this past Thursday. And their home games are at Arctic Edge in Edmond, and it's only $10 to get in. And I highly recommend you getting out to check out the hockey team if you get a chance, because it was so much fun. So this was the home opener, season opener for our guys against Oklahoma State on Thursday night, and then they turn around and play them on Friday in Tulsa, which is their home rink for the Cowboys. Unfortunately, we lost both of those games, but they were so exciting. If you've never been to a hockey game, I didn't realize that you could literally like body slam people into a wall and that you could hit them with your stick. Like, I know I'm late to the party here. People were so shocked that I hadn't been to a hockey game or that I had no idea that you could do all of this stuff, be so violent, quote, so to speak. But I actually had attended one hockey game back in college, but it was a long time ago, y'all. I don't remember. I do remember my cousin joking that we went to a fight and a hockey game broke out, and now it makes complete sense. Clearly, I was oblivious the last time. Maybe I was too busy eating hot dogs or something. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, check out the hockey schedule. Number 10, Nate Monticelli, is our former pitcher, Peyton's little brother. And it was so much fun just to have a connection to watch on that team. And it was just so much fun to watch. So again, a shout out to our hockey team. Just get out and support them if you get a chance. My Sooner MVP of the week is none other than Tori Blaylock. I know I mentioned earlier that I am super impressed by John Mateer, Jaron Kanek, who's made a terrific transition from the defensive side of the ball now as a tight end. He's really, really showing out. And Tori Blaylock. But Tori gets my ultimate MVP of the week. He had 7.1 yards a carry against Temple, and just incredible player. He really put on a great show in the opener, and then we didn't see him for Michigan. He may have been suffering with a little brief injury there, and they kind of held him out to rest. But he's back, and he was definitely putting on a show on Saturday, and I cannot wait to see what he does the rest of the season. Like I said earlier, Teddy had mentioned that he thinks we're going to have 2,000-yard rushers for the season, and I'm definitely on board thinking that Tori's going to be one of them. Real quick, our Sooner weekly event lineup. We have some home events coming up. We have volleyball at home this Thursday at 5 p.m., and the tickets are super cheap. We have our soccer team at home on Thursday at 6 p.m. and again, free admission on that one. Women's golf is playing the Schooner Fall Classic at Belmar Golf, and you can go support them for free. And again, football against Auburn at home is coming Saturday at 2:30. It is on ABC, and if you're looking for tickets, you can check out SeatGeek for that. And on the road this week, our men's golf is at the Invitational at the Honors Course in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Our soccer team also goes on the road next Sunday, Vanderbilt at noon. And our volleyball team goes on the road next Sunday as well at Central Arkansas. And you can watch all of those on SEC+. Okay, to end our show with our Sooner fun fact of the week, Logan Womack was the first Sooner women's soccer standout to connect for a hat trick, popping in 3 goals against Baylor in a 2002 game. So thank you all again for listening to this week's episode. I appreciate your support more than you know. I'm eternally grateful for everyone who gives me their time to listen and invest in the episode. And go follow me on social media if you don't already. I'm on every platform at Sooner Girl Pod. And again, I know there's talk with TikTok up in the air, but I post all of that content on my YouTube channel. You can go follow me there. So please go and do that. I do have shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, stickers, hats, and visors, all the things. My merch is soonergirl.bigcartel.com. And please just go like, follow, and subscribe on all social media and all the podcast app, all the platforms. If you feel so inclined to rate and leave a review, you can do so on Facebook and on Apple and Spotify. You can also subscribe for free on Substack, and you never miss a thing. The Playbook is my monthly newsletter that goes out at the end of the month. If you subscribe for free on Substack, you will get that sent right to your inbox, as well as the weekly episodes sent right to your inbox as well, and any other big announcements that there may be regarding the show. I do not spam you. You get maybe 6 emails a month, including the weekly episodes, the Playbook newsletter, and maybe 1 or 2 other things, but that's pretty rare. So go give me a subscribe on Substack. Ladies, don't forget about the Huddle. My locker room girls, it's only $5 a month. You get our monthly Google online huddles. We do in-person meetups. I do giveaways just for those girls. We have a chat. We have a text group. We have a private Instagram thread. You get a discount merch code to use if you order, and you get all the inside secrets that I tell before they're announced on social media, and just all the behind the scenes stuff. And so again, if you're interested in advertising or sponsoring the show, even if you don't have a business, you just want to support what I do, I'm happy to work with any budget, any dollar amount that you have. Just shoot me a message on social media at Schooner Girl Pod, or shoot me an email at SchoonerGirlSportsPod@gmail.com. And again, I just want to end the show by giving a shout out to the Norman Rotary Club. If you follow me on social media, you saw that I spoke to their lunch group last week, and I had the best time. It was my first major speaking engagement, especially regarding the podcast. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm used to sitting behind a screen where I can edit and have all the lighting and angles and everything. And so it was a little strange doing it live, but I had a blast. Everyone was so kind. So shout out to Stephen and Liz for hosting me, having me come speak to the Norman Rotary Club. I had the best time, and you can check out those photos and more information about that on my social media. And also be on the lookout. I will be speaking with the Norman Kiwanis Club in November, so more information to come on that. So thank you again so much for listening. I enjoyed having you all here on the show. I hope that you'll give me a follow, and I will see you next Wednesday. Hopefully we're celebrating an Auburn win, and we will talk sports.